Alright, so let's remind you guys of something. When we are looking to graph quadratics in standard form, let's just remind you what standard form actually is. Standard form is, remember, ax squared plus bx plus c, and that equals 0. And that is standard form. And to find the axis of symmetry, it's going to be negative b over 2a. So whatever you have as your b, then you're going to plug that into that equation, and a. Alright, but also to remind you, your y-intercept, whenever we're trying to find a y-intercept, we're actually just going to set x, right? We're going to set x equal to 0. Because when x is 0, that's how you can find your y-intercept, and then you're going to solve for y. So there might be some other more algebra that you have to do, but, you know, filling anything in for 0 is pretty, not too difficult, not too hard. And to find the y value of the vertex, well, once you find the x value, meaning once you find your axis of symmetry, what you're going to do is you're going to plug in that x value into your equation. So you're going to plug in the x value into your equation and solve for y, and that would be your vertex. Oop, that's not what I want. You're going to solve for y. So let's just do an example of this real quick. It's kind of the same thing you guys have been doing, but if I go to graph the parabola and I want to label the vertex and axis of symmetry and label the x and y intercepts, well, first of all, I kind of have to find those, right? So let me find what my axis of symmetry is, meaning it's going to be x equals negative b, and if you look at this, this is your a, this is your b, and your c, well, we don't really know. So it's going to be negative b, which will have a negative 4, over 2, and then a. Alright, so then it becomes negative 4 over negative 4, which reduces to 1. Alright, so part of my vertex, if I just want to write it over here, part of my vertex, I know my x is 1. Well, now to find my y, alright, now to find my y, I'm going to take this 1 and plug it back into my equation for every x value. So then I'm going to get y equals negative 2 times 1 squared plus 4 times 1. And that reduces to negative 2 plus 4, which you get a positive 2. So my whole entire vertex is 1, 2. Alright, now if I want to be able to find my y-intercept, I could plug in 0, and then it shows that y is going to be 0, or I can just start graphing it. And so when I plug in my point, there's my point, I look at my slope, and my slope's negative 2, right? My slope is a. So it's going to be a negative Nelly, meaning it's going to be pointing down, and I'm going to go down 2 over 1 for my first, because it's my legs times 2, and then I'm going to go down 8 over 2, and this is my graph. You can tell my y and x intercepts are right at 0, 0, and 2, 0. And if we wanted to double check, if you ended up plugging in 0 for all the x's, you get y equals 0. So if you want to do that, you can. That's for one of them. But, you know, graphing it will get you that too. So let's go to one more example. Let's do one more example. And first, let's find our axis of symmetry, meaning we have negative b over 2a. Well, this is my a, this is my b, and this is my c. All right? My b is going to be negative 6 over 2 times negative 1. So it becomes negative 6 over negative 2, which reduces to a positive 3. So I know part of my vertex, my x value, is going to be 3. And now I just need to find the y value. That means I have to plug 3 in to my equation. So when I plug 3 into my equation, what I'm going to get is I'm going to get negative, let's straighten this out a little bit. I'm going to get y equals negative 3 squared plus 6 times 3 minus 5, which then you'll get negative 9 plus 18 minus 5, and you get 9 minus 5, which equals 4. So that is your y value. So your vertex start at 3, 4. Well, let's look at my slope. My slope is that a. So my slope, actually a equals negative 1. So it's a negative nelly, it's pointing down. I'll start at 3, positive 4 right here, and I'm going to go down 1 over 1, and then I'm going to go down 4 over 2, and here is my graph. And so my y-intercepts are at 1 and 5. And lastly, on page number 17, I'm just going to look at the number 9 real quick, and then you guys are going to be on your own to do number 10. So, given the function of f of x equals x squared plus 2x plus 7, state whether the parabola opens up or down, and the maximum or min. Well, I know if it opens up or down according to the slope. If my a is positive, it's a happy-go-lucky. So I automatically know it's going to open up, and there's going to be a minimum. So C and D are automatically out. How I can tell what value that is according to my vertex. Remember, it's going to be my y value. So, to be able to find that, to find your vertex, right? So we want to get our vertex value. I'm going to have to do my negative b over 2a. So I get a negative 2 over 2 times 1, which ends up being negative 1. So if my x is negative 1, let's plug that in. To find my y, I'm going to have negative 1 squared. I'm just plugging it into the formula. 2 times negative 1 plus 7. Ends up being 1 plus negative 2, or you can just do minus 2, plus 7. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1, plus a positive 7, you're going to end up with a positive 6. So that's going to be my minimum value. So you know that is